Hello and welcome to this Blender tutorial brought to you by Luwizart. My name is Emmanuel Okafo, and today I'll be basically showing you guys how you can use Blender to create ivy leaves, something that looks like this. As you can see, we have the curves going and then we have the leaf actually coming out from it. So today I'm just gonna show you how to set that up. I already know Blender has a default ivy generator, but the reason I don't use that is, number one, it's very unpredictable and it has a very destructive workflow, meaning once you create it, that's what you have. You can tweak or edit some parameters. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I have found out. But this method I'm going to be showing you, you have control over everything. You can even animate it if that calls for it, and you can play with the numbers. You can play with so many parameters because it's just a particle system, and I'm going to be showing you guys how you can basically set this up. Okay, so let's start from a new scene. So I want to make it as clear as possible, so we'll be using Suzanne for this example. Okay, so I'll just place it on top of the grid and smooth it out. Okay, so this is our model and we want to paint in an ivy leaf on it. So what you want to do is basically we add a simple curve, a Bezier curve. Okay, the reason we did is so that we can enter into the edit mode of the curve and you can basically delete this. So I will just bring up this tool menu here, and then I want to select this curve draw brush, curve draw tool. This tool basically allows you to draw curves in your 3D view. Okay, so as you can see, it can draw a curve, but it's not actually placing it on top of the geometry. So if you wanted to actually do that, bring up this header. Okay, so you want to switch it from cursor to surface. Okay, so now we can actually just paint on top Suzanne. Okay, so for just visual purposes, I like to work without the handles and the normals, so I can basically just start working like this. So you want to paint in the ivies. So these are going to be the parts which the ivy are going to be generated from, so you can use reference so that you can be more close to realism. Okay, so I will just do a little part for Suzanne. You should also bear in mind there are some parameters you can play with to create some offset. Okay, so let's say we're happy with this. So this is what we have right now. Okay, so let's say we're happy with it. For the next step, you want to select the curve, go into this curve panel, and on that geometry you want to just go to the depth and increase the size. So you want to increase the size to the depth that you want it, so you want the stem to be. So if you're happy with this, we can proceed to the next step. So that's adding the leaves. So we'll just add a single plane. Okay, scale it slightly, go into the edit mode. We'll select this edge and do cursor to selected and origin to 3D cursor. So this allows you to basically rotate it from this point. The reason I did this is so that when we spawn this plane out of this curve, is going to be generated from this point. Okay, so now let's select this and convert this to a mesh, because this particle system cannot work with curve, cannot be generated from curve, so we need to convert it to a mesh. So to do that, you can press the spatial key, go to convert to mesh, and yeah, so that's all. We can apply the rotation, scale, and also make sure the origin is centered to geometry. And now we can go to the particles, the new particle system, set it to here. We can reduce the strength to 1 or even something lower, and for now we'll just reduce the number to something like 500. Cool. So before we continue, let's apply a texture to this plane. So it's pretty straightforward. We'll bring out our UV editor. So you can select it from here, UV editor. And I already have an image for the Ivy plain texture. So I'm gonna select that, and it's under my nature and this one. Okay, so this is an Ivy leaf texture, so you can just unwrap it, and let's manually scale it to match the leaf. Okay, so let's add the material so we can actually preview it, how it's working. And I'm going to switch my render engine to Eevee, so you can either have a shortcut for that. I have a shortcut for that, or you could switch it up here, cycles to Eevee. Okay, and now we can set everything up. So in my shader view, I am going to add the texture and set it to the color. Okay, and I already have an alpha channel, so I don't need to import another alpha channel or create something. I can easily just connect this alpha channel to this. Okay, and for it to preview in the scene, we need to switch the blend mode to alpha blend. Okay, so for most of you that have textures that don't have the alpha channel, let me show you a nice trick that you could use to generate an alpha pass. Okay, so you just grab your converter. Okay, you input the color to the factor, and what you get is this image, the gray. So you can play with this curve parameters to get different effects. So we can just increase this. Okay, better still, we could change the fall off type to something like constant. So now we are getting like very sharp blend. So with this, you can have like a very wide image that looks like an alpha. So like there's hardly no difference between the two, and you can just connect this to work as your alpha. All right, so I already have mine, so there's no need for that. I can just use the alpha for that. Okay, so it's facing the wrong direction, and we need to fix that. And let's rotate this, like rotate the Z 180 degrees, and that's that. We can just place this closer, and yeah, so that's that for the image. So let's bring back the rest of the object, and now we can apply it to this curve. So you select it and go to your particles. So for the render settings, we want to switch it to object, and instant object will select this. Let's increase the length, and we can preview it now. Let's give Susan a decent material. Just reduce the specularity. So give this stem decent material too, kind of like wood. Okay, so yeah, so it's looking okay, but it's not looking, I want it to look randomized and very unnatural, very imperfect. Okay, so I can select this and go to the particles, and first of all, I can go to the source and play with the jitter amount. Okay, click turn off even distribution, and importantly, I will click on the advanced, and then I want to select the rotation. So the orientation type, I'm going to set it to Y. Basically, you want to play with it to see what you get. So Y it's not working, I'm going to set it to the object Z location. And now we can play with the face. We can randomize it, and let's try the Y location. So you can randomize it this way to get different rotation. Okay, so for you to add more leaves, I don't advise you using the children because you're just gonna get like duplication of the leaves. To actually have more particles in your scene, you increase the number. Don't worry, Blender 2.8 can handle quite a lot of particles than the previous version, so increasing to a decent number like 3000 works. But that's not realistic, so let's say 2000, not 200. Okay, so yeah, we could also randomize the scale. And with this process, you can either add dynamics to control the growth. You could do so many awesome stuff with this kind of setup. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. If you wish to see more from me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, so bye bye for now. See you next time.